Hello and welcome back. I'm Jessica Kirschner, Integrative Wellness Coach here at Mindful Modern Living. Today, I'd like to talk about a topic that's deeply personal to me, and that is movement as medicine. How movement became a form of medicine for me, and why it's one of the most important tools that I use for managing my personal stress, to support my mental and emotional well-being, and a tool that helps me live a more intentional life. And when I say movement, I don't mean as a form of exercise or fitness. I literally mean movement as medicine, a tool for shifting energy, reconnecting with the mind and body, and supporting your mental and emotional health. So some of you might not know this, but my path to this work really began out of necessity. Years ago, I was living in Boston, really struggling with my mental health. I was navigating deep depression, anxiety, and really kind of high functioning burnout. On the inside, or on the outside rather, I was managing. I had a good job, I was doing all of the right things, but on the inside, my stress and emotional pain had settled into my body in ways that I had no idea, I was unaware of. And for a long time, I didn't even know what it was. I was literally just trying to survive every day. And when I was living in Boston for those 8 years, it was one of the hardest chapters of my life. I had this deep, consistent hum of emotional heaviness. The anxiety hadn't yet kicked in, or not fully, but the depression had been there for many years. And one day in particular, when things just felt really, really heavy, literally out of desperation, I picked up a jump rope. Yes, a jump rope. I just needed to move. I needed to move my body. So I walked out to the alley behind the apartment building where I was living, and I started jumping. My neighbors, I'm sure, thought I was freaking nuts, but I just felt this restlessness energy building up inside of me, and I knew I just could not sit with it any longer. The movement, the jumping, gave me a way to feel like I was literally shaking everything out, shaking everything that felt stuck inside of me. The movement allowed that energy to go somewhere, and I felt it. I felt that tight, suffocating energy start to move and shift through my body. And I didn't have words for it back then, but now I know. It was release. I was literally able to start releasing. It was my body starting to process what my mind didn't know how to process, or I didn't know what to say. And so over time, it became my medicine. The movement, the simple act of moving my body helped me to reconnect. And sometimes instead of jump roping, I would just put on my headphones, put on an electronic dance playlist on Spotify, and allow myself to just move. I'd let myself dance and flail and cry and shake. It wasn't about form. It wasn't about fitness. It was literally about expression and creating space. And that's what allowed me to realize that movement is so much more than physical. It's spiritual, it's energetic, it's medicine. And it wasn't until later that I learned the science behind movement. Movement, especially aerobic exercise, helps regulate the nervous system. It lowers our cortisol, stress hormone. It improves our sleep. It boosts our endorphins, which naturally elevate our mood. And studies have even shown that running or walking regularly can significantly reduce depression or symptoms of depression. And movement also enhances our cognitive function. Your ability to focus, to think clearly, to manage your time and your energy. It's not just beneficial for physical health. Releasing energy what I have personally experienced and what I've have started to realize even with my clients is often the missing piece in effective stress management, emotional regulation, and even trauma processing. And those factors directly shape how you show up in your work, how you show up in relationships, and your ability to live with intention. So that's where movement becomes more than just fitness. It becomes essential. It becomes a lifestyle that is so important for integration. And my belief is that if you're seeking a balanced, healthy life, it's something worth integrating into your daily, weekly rhythm. So let's talk about lifestyle, because when I was living in Boston, one of the biggest things that I loved was walking everywhere. It was a mile to work. It was a mile walk home from work. It was built in movement. Fast forward, I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. I have to drive so much more, which sucks. I love Cincinnati, but I hate driving everywhere. It's just a different pace. It's a different lifestyle. I have to be so intentional about movement. I do not have built-in movement in my lifestyle, in my everyday life. So I have to make sure that I am aware and intentional of how I'm showing up from a movement perspective. I don't get movement as much unless I plan for it. And if I'm being honest, I feel it. It shows up in my mood. It shows up in the stress builds up, the anxiety builds up. And for many of us, we're living lives that aren't designed for the amount of movement our bodies need to naturally regulate itself. We are commuting, we're working, we're scrolling, we're spending a majority of our time sitting. But our stress, it doesn't just live in our heads. It mutates, it manifests into physical discomfort, into fatigue, weakened immune system, and even long-term health challenges. And so that's why building self-awareness is so essential. When you understand how stress is showing up in your mind and your body, you can begin to intentionally respond. You can intentionally respond with movement. That's where having a movement practice integrated into your lifestyle becomes essential. It becomes a tool that you can intentionally use for processing and releasing when that stress becomes too much. It becomes literally a tool for healing the mind and the body. So again, when I talk about movement, I'm not just talking about this like perfectly curated morning routine or hitting the gym 5 days a week. So some days I am jump roping. Other days I'm dancing around my apartment, listening to my headphones. I'm letting my body move freely and expressing itself freely, but is staying connected with my breath and allowing those emotions and those thoughts to process. There are times where I cry, there are times when I laugh, when I don't even know what I'm processing, but it's the act of just allowing my body to move because that's what it's asking. And so that's what I'm talking about really, is creating space for yourself to feel, to process, to release that tension, and to create space within yourself to process and to release and to be still. Movement and stillness, they need each other. Movement supports stillness. We cannot have stillness in our bodies if they are screaming to move, to release. Meditation and sound healing are amazing tools for regulating our nervous system, but when our bodies are carrying so much unprocessed emotion, stillness alone can feel really challenging to just be still. So that's why movement and stillness complement each other. For example, in yogic tradition, the postures, the asana practice of yoga are practiced actually before meditation. So the postures are traditionally used to prepare the mind and body for seated meditation. You move the energy, you stretch the body, you open channels, then you sit. That's the integration. And that is the work of intentional living, of mind-body connection. If you want to live with clarity, with calm, you need both movement and stillness, because they teach you how to get to know yourself so acutely well that you can recognize when your body and your mind need attention. And then from there, you're able to respond with intention. You can choose intentionally how to show up for yourself. So let me ask you this. What kind of movement makes you feel the most alive, the most free, and the most grounded? What would change in your life if you made more space for free movement? Maybe just 5 minutes. How do you think that could support you? I want to offer you an invitation to move your body in the way that feels best for you. Maybe it's dancing, maybe it's taking a walk after dinner, maybe it's just shaking your shoulders for 30 seconds while the coffee is being made. The point isn't how you move your body, it's that you do. And that you're practicing self-awareness. When you're moving your body, when you're mindfully moving, you are building a habit of intentionally tuning in. And that's what intentional living really looks like. It's about choosing presence. It's about choosing to connect. And it's about choosing to listen to your body and give it what it needs when it asks. So if any of this is resonating with you, I invite you to download my free resource, the Mindful Reset Workbook. It's packed with stress awareness tools, guided reflections, and techniques to help you better understand your own patterns and start to shift into alignment. You can find the link and download below. And as always, if you're ready to take this work more deeply, let's talk. I offer private one-on-one coaching to help you build a more connected and empowered and intentional life. Together, we're going to peel back some of those layers and really clarify what balance means to you and how to create a path for you that supports that vision of intentional living. As always, I would love to hear from you. So please leave a comment below. What kind of movement has felt most supportive for you lately and has helped you feel more connected? What's calling to you now? Thank you so much for being here, for tuning in and listening. I hope to stay connected and stay well. I will see you very soon. Take care.